Hello everyone and welcome back to Rajput Jain and Associate. Our today's topic of discussion will be housing finance company registration. So first of all, it is important to know the meaning of housing finance company. The housing finance company is a type of non-banking financial company which is engaged in the principal business of financing of acquisition or construction of houses that includes the development of plots of lands for the construction of new houses. A housing finance company is a company which generally carries on the business of housing finance or has one of its main object clause in the Memorandum of Association of carrying on the business of providing finance for the housing purpose. Now, next comes the eligibility criteria for obtaining housing finance company registration. So, there are certain eligibility criteria that has to be considered for obtaining the housing finance company registration. First one is the incorporation as company under the Companies Act 2013. So the applicant entity shall be constituted as a private limited company in accordance with the provisions of Companies Act 2013. Second one is registration as an NBFC. So the business entity that wants to operate as a housing finance company must obtain registration certificate as the non-banking financial company being issued by the Reserve Bank of India. Next is the net owned funds. So it shall be noted that the net owned fund of a housing finance company must be at least rupees 20 crores. Therefore, an applicant needs to satisfy the requirement of net owned fund before obtaining the housing finance company registration. Then comes the housing finance activities as the object clause. It is the last but the most important requirement of all that the objects of this type of company must mention for financing housing loans and other commercial complexes. Besides providing finance, the said company must also have the prediction of earnings. The management and operations of the company must act in good faith and in the interest of the public and other consumers. This means that they need to work in the interest of the public. Now, having discussed about the prerequisites for forming a housing finance company, we will now discuss about the benefits of incorporating a housing finance company. So the key benefits are, first of all, it offers housing finance loans to individuals. The main reason behind the registration of such company is to offer housing loans to individual and that too at an affordable rate. Second one is offers housing finance loans to company. The main reason behind the registration of such companies is to offer housing loans to companies that too at an affordable rate so that they can lease out the premises to its employees. Third one is the redevelopment. The main reason behind the registration of such companies is to carry out redevelopment activities such as the development and betterment of slums and rural areas. Next comes the document required for obtaining housing finance company registration. So the documents required for obtaining housing finance company registration in India includes, first of all, furnishing the copy of Article of Association and Memorandum of Association of the said company. Then comes the details about the company's profile. After that, furnish a board resolution mentioning that the company's aim and approval to record registration application before the National Housing Bank. Then a comprehensive business plan stating the next 3-year goals and objects of the company. Then acquire a certificate issued by any professional stating that the said company has duly met with the conditions of minimum net owned funds of rupees 20 crores. Then the business profile of Chief Executive Officer or the directors or the managing directors. After that, details of all the companies to which the directors are related. And lastly, the financial audit statement of the last 3 years. Next comes the procedure for obtaining housing finance company registration. So firstly, download the application for registration. In the first step of the process for obtaining housing finance company registration, the applicant is required to download the application form from the official website of the National Housing Bank. After this, attach all the documents with the application. So the applicant company is required to attach all the required documents together with the application form. Also, it needs to annex the demand draft in favor of the National Housing Bank. Checking of authenticity. Furthermore, the officials of the National Housing Bank will check the authenticity and legitimacy of the documents and the applications submitted by the applicant. Next is the issuance of housing finance company registration. After being satisfied with the documents, annexures and application forms submitted, the National Housing Bank will grant the certificate of registration to the applicant company. The same will act as a proof for the housing finance company registration. Now in the last part of our video, let us discuss some of the frequently asked questions. So first one is, are housing finance companies regulated by RBI? So the overall mandate given to the NHB is to make retail housing finance affordable to all the sections of the society. The RBI in November 2019 issued a notification withdrawing exemption given to housing finance company, which allowed the National Housing Bank to regulate them. Next, can housing finance company accept deposit? So in answer to this, we can very well say that no, housing finance company shall invite or accept or renew public deposit at a rate of interest exceeding 12.5% per annum or at a revised rate being revised by RBI on time to time. The RBI asked housing finance company to ensure that at all times there is full cover available for public deposit accepted by them. Next is, what is the purpose of housing finance? The main purpose of a housing finance is to empower you to own your dream home. A home provides a long-term security and moreover a real estate property which usually appreciates often than the other way round. A real estate is an investment that will give you good returns in the coming future. Next is, what are the types of housing finance? So there are basically 5 types of housing finance company. First is basic home loan. Second is home construction loan. Third is home extension or improvement loan. Fourth is home loan balance transfer. And lastly, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Then what is the role of National Housing Bank? So National Housing Bank regulates the housing finance system of the country, extends refinance to different primary lenders and lends directly in respect of projects undertaken by public housing agencies for housing construction and development of housing related infrastructure. And last one is, how is housing finance different from other finance? So NBFC, as the name suggests, is a financial institution whose business includes only loan and no other banking services like accepting deposits, fund transfers, payroll services, etc. Housing finance companies are specialized NBFCs that deal only in home loans. So this was all about housing finance company registration. Thank you all for watching this video.